Hi everyone, welcome to Single Values. So today we're looking to Humacyte, and it's been a while since we did an update because there's really not that much happening. So where are we at right now? So we're still waiting on FDA approval for the labeling. So even though we've gotten approval for the product itself, we're still waiting on the labeling. So in a way we're still actually waiting on the FDA. So it could come through anytime soon now. But of course it's not healthy for the share price. Share price is at $3.91, dipping below that $4 zone this week, which has not been great. So if we look at the 1 month, it's down 5%, 6 months time frame, it's down 35%. It's a bit crazy considering the stock has FDA approval, yet it's only worth $500 million for some really incredible breakthrough technology. But you know, what do you know? The market's not really responding, and what can you do? Like, at the end of the day, I think the market is still looking at this and going, you know, what's quicker? Are they going to get sales quicker, or do they have to raise money before that? And that's the biggest question, which the market's always afraid. When capital raising is mentioned, everyone kind of pulls back, waits, because they don't want to be caught with their pants down. So there has been this new article that came out a couple of days ago, and basically it is, you do have to pay to read it. I think people have been posting it online here and there, so you could probably find it on the forums. And it basically just says, they're stockpiling about 6 to 8 months of inventory right now. So the minute they're all clear to go, they're ready to sell, which is a really, really good sign. Why stock up 6 to 8 months of inventory if you don't think you can sell a lot of it? So it's a really, really good sign. Their sales kind of training for the sales team was finalized last month, so they had the last week for January, and then basically their sales team is ready to go, inventory is ready to go, and it's just really, really just hinging on that final FDA approval for the labeling. So I think that should come very soon. At least that's what the CEO thinks. In this article, she does say they expect to be selling this month. So with 2 weeks left, I assume an announcement is coming very soon. In a way, I did expect it. Like my previous videos, my target was around this time frame, around end of February. And I don't think there's anything that's wrong. Everything has kind of fit the time frame. So hence my lack of update for this company in terms of videos. I've also been a little bit busy, but it's generally just a combo. But yeah, I don't think there's really much update in terms of the company's progress. Like, their sales team is ready. They've been stocking a lot of inventory, which is new information, which is quite good. So I think the minute the labeling's finished, we should expect to hear some sales if they want to update us, and hopefully that Department of Defense kind of contract isn't far away from that as well. Which, I mean, it's really frustrating not hearing a lot from the company, but there's really not a lot that they can tell us at this moment. So until they get the labeling all done and sorted, sales is still kind of not able to happen. They can't really sell something which they don't have a proper labeling for. So I think it's just a little bit more patience. Like, you're almost there, and then the minute they can start selling things, hopefully we see some progress in the share price. I mean, it's a good time for buying if you believe in the company, but of course you just want to have that slight kind of skepticism that capital raising could happen. But at the end of the day, if they raise another 50 million, it's gonna happen. But it means if they can start sales, that could potentially be the last raise that they need to do to really get things going, and then it's likely they can get to a break-even point if things sell really well. Especially if they get a Department of Defense contract, then I think that's their finance problems gone, and I think that's when the share price really flies. So the minute the market sees a good rate of sales, the share price is flying, and that's the thing. You can either buy in early, be patient, take some risk that there might be a capital raise, or you can time it and wait for them to get the labeling sorted, show some traction in their sales, and by then the share price will be slightly higher, of course, but it means you reduce some of your risk. So there's different ways of doing it, and if you already hold shares, just be patient. You've waited long enough, why not just that little bit longer? Obviously no one likes waiting, especially when you're watching other stocks just do so well, and this stock just it's kind of boring and really deflating just watching the stock price, but that's just how it goes sometimes. You just have to be patient, and if you're in biotechs, this is the reality of biotechs. Obviously, in most cases, when companies get FDA approval, the stock flies. So this is a really big outlier, and especially with some breakthrough technology that these guys have, it's a bit baffling. Like, I've seen a lot of biotech companies, or a lot of companies in general, and when they have good news, the stock does really well. Like, this is one company that literally, like, if someone believed that they jinxed this company, then it's like a jinx company in some sense. Like, they've achieved some incredible milestones, yet stocks really held back, which kind of signals a lot of skepticism about how the management team kind of performs, because the product itself is fantastic. It's just around the execution, around when they'll get sales, and just a lot of caution around potential capital raises. But I think once they can get over that, once they can get sales traction, and they can prove they have enough funding for to the break-even point, then I think a market comes in with a lot of confidence. And it's one of those things where the share price is held back for a lot, and then once it really goes, it really goes. Like, I think Rocket Lab was a really good example last year, where the share price was held back at $4 or $5 for years, and then end of last year, when things really got going, like, that just shot up to like $30. So you don't want to miss that moment when the share price really, really does well, and it's a very short time frame. So you don't want to miss that short time frame where the stock really goes ballistics. It just drives you nuts when nothing happens with the stock. But the minute something happens with the stock, you want to be there for the ride. So you got to be really patient, and sometimes it's just best not to look at the stock and just let it do its thing. But obviously, you're usually very enthusiastic. You want to watch it every day, and you can overthink this situation. But at the end of the day, if you get a good return at the end of the day, then I don't think you care. If people are willing to put their money in a term deposit for like a few percent, for a stock that potentially could return multiples of what a term deposit would return, it's worth being patient. Obviously we don't want to be comparing against term deposits. We're usually comparing against other stocks. It's like, why are other stocks doing so well? Why did I, focus on this one? There's a lot of thoughts around these things, but you can't time it perfectly. You can't always choose the right company, but at the end of the day, you just have to watch the execution, the fundamentals of the company, and especially, they've got such a unique product that they just have to sell it right, and things go really well for the company. So I think it's really, really worth the patience. I wouldn't start thinking too much. Obviously, it's boring just waiting and waiting and waiting, but you're through the largest milestones of FDA approval, and now you're at the final stage of labeling. Obviously there's also quite a bit of waiting around them getting sales traction, but they wouldn't produce 6 to 8 months of inventory if they didn't believe that they would have enough demand to kind of fill that. So it's a really, really good sign. So I think just be a bit more patient, and I think if If they're right about the 6-week time frame, then the label review should be over very, very soon, and I expect an announcement probably this month, hopefully, fingers crossed. If not, at the same time, you just have to be patient, and it's just waiting, which is, frustrating, of course, but, it's just the name of the game, and you just really don't want to miss out on that short time frame. When the stock does really well, it's really gonna fly, and I know it doesn't feel like it, and you could just look at this with so much skepticism with the stock price, but that's just how stocks run sometimes. They're like a spring that you keep holding back, and when things go right, it just shoots forward, and we just have to wait for that moment. Until then, let's just be a bit more patient, and good luck with your investing, and I'll see you next time.